Hi again, this is Matt Knopp for theserviceofsong.com, and I want to share with you a little bit today on being educated when it comes to your music direction. And don't look at that with a negative connotation. Being educated is a good thing, and education can be a bad thing, but it's really necessary for everything that we do in life. So I encourage you, be educated, but you don't want the wrong kind of education. You want the right kind of education. So here's some things that may help you. Number one, being educated in music, not just in songs. I tell this to our choir for years. I've told this to our choir, told it to our teen choir for years. We don't want to learn just songs. We want to learn music. Now what I mean by that is, here's an illustration. My wife is teaching our children to read right now. She told me just the other night, she said, you know, I could sit them down and take the approach that many local schools are taking, many of these other places are taking, and I'll teach them 2,000 words, have them memorize 2,000 words, and have them memorizing all these words. And then at the end of that process, they'll be able to read those 2,000 words. She said, or I could take a phonetical approach, and I could teach them 2,000 rules, and grammatical rules, or etymological rules, or phonetical rules. I'll teach them these 2,000 rules, have them memorize these 2,000 rules, and then when that process is done, they can read anything. Now, I much prefer that approach, and that's kind of the same approach we've taken in our music ministry here. We don't want to learn just songs, and here's the tendency we want to avoid: to find a song that we like and listen to it over and over and over and dedicate 8 hours or 10 hours or a dozen hours to it, and then at the end of that period be able to sing that one song. Because you see, what will happen is you can memorize 200 songs and not progress musically any, and then at the end of that period, all you can sing are those 200 songs. So we want to avoid that, because you could memorize 200 musical rules and learn what a clef is, learn what a time signature is, or what a key signature is, or what a quarter note is, or what a bar line is. You can learn those types of things, those musical rules, and then when that process is done, you could take any song, you could read it, you could understand it, you could perform it, you could take it apart, you could direct it, you could do all these types of things. You could understand it. So I encourage you, as you look at this area of being educated in music, don't just educate yourself in songs. Don't just learn songs, but learn music. Find somebody that can teach you, either vocally or teach you an instrument like the piano or the guitar, something that will be useful, in the service of the Lord. But take those things and let somebody educate you as to music, and learn music, not just songs. So that's number one, learning music, not just songs. Number two is to read. It's never a bad time to read, and there are so many good books that can help you. My education in conducting or music direction has been, so far, a lot of good people have taught me a lot of good things, but most of those have come from a printed page, and I've been helped a lot by what people have put down in books, and even secular conductors. I'm not afraid of that, but there are a lot of good godly men who have put a lot of good things down on paper. You can go to theserviceofsong.com and you can see where I chronicle a lot of the things that have helped me, and I'm trying to add to that list all the time. I'm reading all the time, but here's the process I like to take. I like to pray, I like to read, I like to study, and then I like to practice. Those four things will help you. Pray about it. Pray and ask the Lord to help you understand. Is this right? Will this be helpful for me? Will this be helpful for my choir? Will this be helpful for my church? Ask the Lord's guidance. I've gotten in some books sometimes and found some things that just were not helpful, and I believe it was the Lord helping me to see that. And we've been able to avoid some things because of prayer. But then read. Read. Don't neglect it. We do so many different things. One of the best things you'll ever do is to read. And then study. Study what the guy says. Is it right? Is it true? Will this help me? Will this really help me? Will this really help my choir? And if yes, then practice it. Put it into action. Do it. Try it out. I've tried things and they haven't worked, and we just had to put them on a shelf and say, well, maybe we'll try it again later. We've tried some different routines, some different practices, some different warm-ups, things like that, and they just have not been a help to us. We just had to shelve a lot of things, but I could not number the amount of good things that I've seen in books from good people and they've helped me, and I've been able to implement them, and it's really helped me, and it's helped our choir, it's helped our music ministry. So I encourage you, be educated. Don't put this on the back burner and say, well, bless God, I'll just stand up and, sing by the letter, just let her fly. God help us to do our very best for Him. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. And the Bible says that David led the people by the skillfulness of his hands, and he fed them by the integrity of his heart. So may God help us. I mean, it's important we have integrity. It's important that we're skillful, and that'll happen as we are educated in the right things.